Balancing to knowledge. One-on-one. Reaching high. One-on-one. Touch the sky. We're breaking through. No limits here. Empower the world. There's nothing to fear. One-on-one. Feel the light. One-on-one. We'll take flight. We rise as one with dreams so bright. On one, we're shining tonight. Feel the power deep inside. Step on up. No need to hide. You've got the strength. You've got the pride. On one, you lead the ride. Ooh, we're moving, we're changing the game. Stand tall, stand proud.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of One on One, right here in Hopkins Village, where we sit down and chat with all the amazing female entrepreneurs in our village to really hear what they have to say as they share their personal experiences about their business and their journey to success. Today, I'm being joined by Isienie Garcia, a yoga instructor, massage therapist, and the person behind Isienie Care and Garfna Comeback. Isienie, how are you?
Doing just fine. I like the way you pronounce my name.
Isienie, yes.
Yes,
Which means
Isienie's love.
yes.
So that's tiny me.
Yes. And you feel that's a word that embodies who you are?
Oh yes, and all of it. A lot of times I would feel like somebody just need that extra love, and then that's where I'm there. Sometimes you enter a space and then there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of grief, there's a lot of uncertainty, and then you share yourself. And I'm sharing me, which is all the love that I get to give. So I'm much grateful for that.
Yes. And there's plenty of love to go around in the world. So you're a yoga instructor. I know yoga is something relatively new to Belize and Belizeans, even though it's universal. So I wanted to know a little bit more about what is yoga and how did you get involved in yoga?
Okay. So yoga is the techniques of life, and it encompasses the mind, body, and spirit. It pretty much balances all of these little aspects that we have. And why I say technique, because when you come to a little human being, they say we don't come with a manual, but actually we do. And yoga really gives you that manual. It shows you how to live your life. So there's different aspects like mindfulness, which also includes being mindful of yourself and what you give, which is that love again. Thinking about your neighbors, you give that love to your neighbors. And yoga teaches all of that in all different aspects: prayer, gratitude, giving thanks. We have breath. And with breath, we might say, oh, we're breathing. But how do we breathe? Are we conscious of our breath? Are we grateful for the breath that we have? And those are the pranayamas when it comes to yoga. And physical movement, walking, exercising, simple things like maybe bending over to pick up a bucket or a can. You need movement. And to better your posture, that's why we have our asanas. It's something that you just have to be mindful about all the time. But the way that we improve our posture allows us for that longevity when it comes to life. It's the same thing with breath. It's the same thing with the way that you eat. You have to be mindful of what you're putting into your body if you want to maintain the physical body that you have. And by maintaining that physical body, you have a better energetic body. You have better spirit. If you eat good food, you feel good. If you eat organic food, it's better than processed food. So yoga constantly reminds you, put proper things in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. Meditation helps us when it comes to that mind food. If you're not meditating, quieting your mind, then you're just always going, which is natural for us. But that's why we meditate. Even if it's just that 5 minutes initially.
So important.
Yes, put away your phone, put away all that music. Sometimes we say, oh, I'm meditation, right? But you have your music going. So you're not in deep meditation because now your mind is straying. There are different types of meditation as well. And I find that very helpful because sometimes people say, oh, meditation, you're just sitting here. But no, you could be on the road. And then you focus on one singular thought. And every time something new come in, that could be negative or positive, you come back to that thought. Sometimes you come back to that breath. One of my favorite ones is I am enough, and I have everything within me to succeed. Whenever I mention it, it reminds me that I bring my best to the table, and my best is all that I need. It's pretty much enough. So constantly reminding myself, sometimes you're coming on the bus and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get into Hopkins today? And I remind myself, I have enough. And the big man is working for me. I like to refer to the Lord, Krishna, the higher being, the universe, as the big man, because yeah. So I constantly remind myself, and there are terms for these things. So that intention that I'm setting, it's considered your mantra, as
Mantra.
you repeat it
Okay.
over and over and over. And we also have maybe like a bead mala.
What's that?
And a bead mala is very similar to a rosary. It has 108 beads, and they're different beads. So maybe they're stones. Maybe they're these little brown beads that have a nice little feel to it, and they're the tears of Buddha.
Oh,
So you just keep from one bead to another, 108.
okay.
Sometimes you might find one with 54, and you do it twice. And each cycle is considered a japa. So you could do for a specific cleansing, maybe 4 japas for the day. I remember my guru gave me a japa, and it's like I say, a mantra. It could be in Sanskrit, which is the language for yoga, or it could be in English. It could be you're creating your own japa. And then you constantly repeat it, and then it goes into your consciousness. So we just have maybe just your mind, and then you have your subconscious. So once you constantly repeat something, it becomes embedded in your subconscious, which is where you want things to be. And that's what yoga is. It's all about being mindful, being present in the moment. Sometimes you're thinking, oh, what the future brings. And then you forget, hey, I could just enjoy today. Tomorrow would be even better. But if you put aside what's going on today, then tomorrow you'll probably still be miserable. And then you complain about, I didn't get what I wanted to get done yesterday, and you're
I
in a
know.
new day.
Life could get so hectic and you could feel so overwhelmed and discouraged and down. How would you say yoga has improved your life compared to before?
Before, I was extremely stressed. I was one of the people who worried about a lot of stuff, especially my future, because as a child, in school, trying to choose a career, your teacher would say, oh, well, you have to choose something that would be for a long time, like becoming a nurse. And my family members all wanted me to be a nurse, but that's not the path that I wanted for myself. So once I went to college, I got introduced to yoga, and it helped me because I know that I could follow the path that I want to follow, and that there's no judgment when it comes to that.
So you immediately knew this is what you wanted to do,
Immediately
yoga?
knew this is what I wanted
This
to
is the
do.
type of lifestyle you wanted. This is where you what you spiritually connected to,
Yes.
and something you wanted to share with others.
Yep.
Okay.
Got a yoga mat. So they said, oh, could you bring a yoga mat or a blanket, right? And I just pretty much bought a yoga mat. It was super thin, but it worked. And on my yoga mat, that's my safe space. So everything around me could be just going on. It could be crazy, but even if I'm sitting right here on this yoga mat, I feel that sense of home, that sense of belonging. That's when I feel that I could be most vulnerable. Sometimes I'm just sitting there. It's not always about a physical practice, but it's more so about me being in me, trusting me, and seeing me for the whole part of who I am. I didn't have that before yoga.
Okay.
I had a lot of uncertainties, like I said. I used to compare myself to people all the time, but with yoga, I am me.
Okay.
And I'm always me.
And how do you share this with the rest of the world?
I share through teaching yoga class in various parts of the southern part of Belize, which is Hopkins, Tangrega, and Placencia. I also teach when it comes to schools, primary schools, high schools. Maybe they're having a seminar, maybe they're having a conference. Sometimes I share via my Facebook page and Instagram. I also share via private classes as well. So through any medium that I have, I would share. Sometimes I
Okay.
meet people at the bus station and
Randomly
they're
like that?
random at the bus station and they're like, "Oh, I'm going through this." And I share through conversations. I share through my life experience, even though it's only 25 years. I share as much as I can and I encourage them to sit with themselves. Sometimes people just need to talk and they need to know that they have a listening ear and that what they're sharing is safe.
Okay, so people's reception has been mostly positive when they've
Mostly
been
positive.
introduced to yoga. Okay.
What I found when it comes to our locals, that they still don't know what yoga is. Every time they hear about yoga, they firstly see the physical postures, which might be somebody doing an advanced twist. And that is just one aspect.
It's more than that.
It's far more than that. Sometimes they might relate it to Hinduism, and we know how religions conflict. But if you take your time and do your research or speak with somebody who knows more about yoga, then I would say you could find what you want from it and incorporate it in your life. As a yogist, I don't incorporate Hinduism into my practice, but
Okay.
I do acknowledge that they are deities, and deities are the different gods that they have. So I do acknowledge them. Because come on, they're our teachers, and they're one of the places where yoga really took place. Interesting fact, as much as yoga came to blossom from India, yoga was also introduced to China and to Africa. So you hear about kinetic yoga, and that's the practice of the Africans. It's
Oh.
still yoga.
Okay.
You hear about qigong. That's the practice that they do in China. It's still yoga. It's just because yoga really allow it to be something bigger and greater, and they're one of the first people who put it out there, right? It's like when you hear, oh, Punta Rock, you know. So it's the first phase, but it was introduced to all these other people and they just brought it to their community. So when I teach yoga here in Belize, I try to make it as welcoming and to our culture as much as possible. So I use a lot of English terms and I speak my Creole from time to time so people know that they're comfortable.
Okay. And you were born and raised right in Dangriga, right?
Born and raised in
Right in
Dangriga, I spent about from birth to 16 there, and then after 16, that's when I moved to Belize City, and that's where I met my teacher.
Okay, and now you're based right here in Hopkins, sharing all of this with the people. How important is it, especially for, we know that the Belizean culture and lifestyle isn't as busy compared to other parts of the world, but indeed, we still need grounding, we still need to find balance. How important is it individually and as a society for us to achieve that?
Very, very important. On a scale of 1 to 10, probably 11. Why? Because there's so much going on when it comes to the raise of food prices, things like that. So we're already in balance. When it comes to the atmosphere, there are a lot of imbalances. When it comes to maybe your family structure, sometimes you've been abused as a child. So in order for you to find yourself and in order for you to be at peace, then you need to find something that is outside of you. And that would include you seeking out a teacher. It doesn't have to be yoga. It could be something as simple as you seeking out a counselor. That way you get to release all that toxic energy.
It's
If you don't
important to
release that
release it. You
toxic
bottle
energy,
that
then you
in.
just
It is
keep
not well.
living,
It is
right?
not well.
And that's why a lot of people are struggling, and that's why they need to find a teacher, a guru, a friend, in order to be able to release whatever is going on in them. Sometimes we don't cry enough. If you cry, you're releasing grief. from your hips. You're releasing trauma. It also helps you to breathe. When you cry, I tell you, you feel that energy release, and then you're like, oh, I had all of that inside
I
me.
know some
Yes,
people
you
feel they're
do.
too tough to cry, or they shouldn't cry, or because it's a sign of weakness or something like that. But no, it's important. It's healthy. You have to do it. The body, it's the body's way of releasing
Yep.
that bad energy.
Yep.
You have to let nature take its course.
And that's why it's important. Whatever time of day you have to do something. And like I mentioned, yoga is holistic, right? Um, a way to ground yourself is by planting. So we are all doing yoga in some aspects, but we need to do more.
So just even by something, a task just as going to the farm and planting or reaping, where and bending over and twisting and turning and touching the earth, where we're connecting in a holistic way that channels what yoga is all about.
Yes, it is. Why? Because the connection is there. When you plant, you're putting a seed into the ground and you're speaking to that seed, right? And when that seed grows, it manifests itself. Either you're manifesting your intentions, but in this case, you're manifesting a physical fruit. So it's grounding, it's putting your ideas out there. And it is yoga. You know, we have to speak life into things and we have to actually cultivate it with our hands. And it's the same thing that yoga is doing. We're putting our mind, body, and soul in there, and we're putting in good energy. If you plant a seed, right, and you're like, oh, well, I just plant this because Granny said plant it. You water that seed, you nourish it, you add to it, but it won't come out because you didn't put good energy in there. But if you put good energy in there, you go there 2 weeks, it grows, it manifests itself. Every time I have a yoga session, I would say at the beginning of our class, we set an intention for a practice. And at the end of the class, we allow for that intention to go up and to come out into the universe. And we come back to heart center because we know that what we're putting out there is coming back to us even better than we put it out there.
Wow.
And the universe is never working against us, it's always working for us. This is very much amazing for me because when the 19th came around about 2 weeks ago, the celebrations, we had that little storm, right? And then I
That
said,
got everyone worried.
right, everybody was worried. And I said to myself, you know, there's higher power in the universe. And for that reason, I just knew that even if the weather held up for that 1, 2 days, we would be able to celebrate. And just
And
as I
celebrate we
mentioned it,
did.
we sure did. We came out. They had the all clear and we came out. And it's manifesting. It's believing. It's having faith. If you don't have faith, you don't have pretty much anything. All yoga. Every day you live and you breathe yoga. You might not consciously know that you're doing it, but you're doing it. And when you're even more conscious of what you're doing, you put 10 times more in there. You really add that extra. You go the extra mile. And that's why we have to know what we're doing.
Yes.
We have to understand it.
And as Belizeans, I'm proud to say that we live a very active lifestyle,
Yeah.
very, very active. Everyone's on their bike, their walk. It's not just driving everywhere, always sitting. We are active. We've seen our grandparents be active, our parents are active, and we're active as well. Going out there here in Hopkins, fishing, going on the basketball court, going, like you mentioned, going to the farm, planting, all of that. And a lot of people feel like you have to separate this from your lifestyle and
No.
dedicate, I don't know how many time for the day to do that, because they feel it's something they don't have time for, or is
Right.
unattainable or unachievable, but clearly it isn't.
It isn't. It is what you do. You know, you just have to be more conscious. And that is why we feel that it's important to share and to have more talk and conversation. Because if you're conscious, you go by the beach. We see our fishermen sitting down all the time. They're meditating. You know, there are a lot of people who are conscious that they're meditating. There are some who are just deep into thought. But when we talk about meditation, we want for you to have that one intention. If you have one intention, your mind is not here, there, and everywhere. Sometimes your mind is here, there, and everywhere, and that's when it comes to journalism. You have your little book, you write it so that you can get those thoughts out. Because if you have so much going on in there, that's why people have madness. So you write it out, you put it out there, you talk to somebody. Sometimes what's going on in your head, you can't talk to somebody about it. You don't feel comfortable. You journal, you meditate, and then you free yourself. And then you go take a swim, and then you come back out. Um,
Nature is healing.
since I'm on that thought, nature is healing. And as a Garifuna woman myself, I remember my dad going to the sea, right? And we go out there, and he would always take a nice little dip, and he would put it over his head 3 times.
3 times?
3 times.
That's
Past, present, and future.
Oh.
And even in yoga class, we always do either 3 to 4 times. So past, present, and future, that would be for 3 times. For 4 different areas, that would be for the 4 cardinal points. So everything is a
everything
connection.
you really think our culture is separate from those in other parts of
No.
the world, but you see so many. The more you learn, the more you read, the more you watch. There's so many similarities.
Yep.
So it doesn't even have to be an African culture. It could be a culture of a different race,
Yep.
and it's just that connection to to a higher power, to acknowledging the higher presence and being grateful for all that is good and the blessings in your life.
Oh yes. Oh yes. It's that. It's life. And even through massages, that's something that I do. I
Yes, a
first
massage therapist.
quiet. I give space. I welcome new energy in. And before a massage session, I ask for the universe to work through me. I see myself as a vessel for one, because massage for me came about as somebody needed help. And it wasn't just, oh, I wanted to be a massage therapist, but somebody.
After learning about yoga and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the massage part came
That's when
afterwards.
massage came in.
Okay.
I had a family member, and she needed help. And she was critically ill in the hospital, the whole 9 yards. And I wanted to know how I could help. So I went to a massage therapist, and he said, well, I'm not working at the moment, like I'm not training people, but because of your story, and I could see that genuineness in you, I'm like, okay, I'll give you the techniques that you need. And from then, massage for me was, I needed to share whatever I could give, and I just couldn't do it on my own. So that's when I would say I called on the universe. I called on my ancestors. I asked them to work through my body, and however that manifests itself, to heal that person.
Oh, wow.
And that's what we do in massages. That's why some people say, oh, you have healing hands. And I don't know what to say, because I'm like, it's not just me, you know. Everything that I'm giving to you comes from outside of me, comes from people before me. So even in yoga class, even in massage, they're all connected. We constantly give thanks to what is here, you know, what we could experience and what we could share. Because if you don't share what you have, then what are you doing?
True.
Why are you here? So it's what I do on a daily basis. And it's just sharing, it's just giving back. Nature provides all that we need. There's nothing that nature hasn't given to us that we don't use. So gratefulness,
Everything,
it's a big part of it.
Everything, every plant, everything has a purpose.
Oh, yes.
And it's up to us to discover what it is and use it. Holistic medicine is on the rise and is very important. And I noticed you yourself have started with your holistic medicine journey as well. So tell me more about that.
So when it comes to more getting deeper into holistic medicine and stuff, I started using sebo, and it's something traditional to the Garifuna homes. Just as you might say, oh, we have our saho, right? You don't know much about it, but it's there for years and, you know, years. And it's the same thing for your sebo product. And sebo is predominantly from animal fat. So
Okay.
that could be from your cow, that could be from your lamb. And those are the two best fats out there that we use at home. Like I mentioned, it comes straight from your farm. And it is processed by our elders, and it's sebo already. Once I got this knowledge and I used it constantly in my sessions, that would be an asupahani, and that would be mainly for your knees.
Oh.
It would be for your ankles and your feet. And it's It could also be like a deep tissue massage.
So it's turned into some sort of
That's the type.
massage cream.
That's the type of massage.
Okay.
A super honey is a type of massage, particularly for your knees and your feet. Super is the Garfana word for massage.
Oh, okay.
But Cebu is the product that I use and my ancestors used before me to help to circulate the blood. It also acts as a protectant against whatever is around you. So you would apply Cebu to your feet, which is a substance as well.
Okay,
and it's pretty much a solid hair.
Oh yes,
It has coconut oil in there.
I smell orange.
You smell orange? Yes. You have your orange oil in there. You have your lime. Lime has great properties. Benefits of your body. It also helps with cleansing. I don't know if your family members back at home, you know, when you mop your house, you have your lime in there. It cleanses your space. And that's also
so
why we have our lime in there.
So this is the first product in your line of self-care.
Yes.
Okay.
Very first little one, and I intend to do more. I had somebody share with me that we should do some copal as well.
Oh, I love the smell of copal.
And copal is using for cleansing. It's holistic. So if you could use that copal as well for, you know, taking care of your house, not only cleansing it, but also on a daily basis, then it would make that extra difference. But for right now, I have Cebu in stores at the Garamaya. I also have them on demand. Like, let's say you're calling me, I could provide them for you. I intend to put some there in Dangrega pretty soon at the Pen Cayetano, because there are women networking and working with each other. I have in Taste Belize in Placencia, and at Balance Life in Placencia and well.
Okay, so it seems like a wonderful product, and I guess it can be used professionally when someone's giving you a massage, or use it right at home. Just take it, and
all you need
if
is
you have
a
a achy joint or something like that, and all of that. Okay.
Just applying it alone, it has its effects. If you could get that extra massage, even if it's just you giving yourself a self massage, it goes deeper into the muscles. It goes directly, because your skin is the largest organ you have. Anything you put on there, it absorbs.
It, yes.
Right? So gentle massage. And another reason why I also decided to enter the product line was because I only had it in the spa session. It was just something that I was offering, and people are like, listen, what you put on my foot? And this is saying, because they went home, and if they had a swelling, within 3 to 4 hours, that swelling went down. And they're like, no, man, this thing worked like Tiger Balm. It's not Tiger Balm. It's traditional for the Garfana people. And as a part of my work, I believe that I should share what we have. If we don't share what we have, how would people know? And it's there. I want to do more. I want to give more authentically of what we have. If I would say to take away from the products, then it won't be the same. Unfortunately, it is not a vegan product, because we have animal fat in there. But even as a vegan person, I don't see it as a problem for you to use a little animal fat. Interesting fact, right? I just knew Cebu. That's the name that I grew up with. And then I had this seminar there in Kaya with traditional healers and other women and men doctors as well. And I said, let me do some research, Googling and all the good stuff. And sebum, S-E-B-U-M, is produced by your body. So it's something that your skin produces.
Okay.
Yep. And it also protects your body.
The ancestors, they knew, our elders, they knew. They just didn't know all these scientific intricacies, but they knew, they understood it. And they passed on this information to us, so we can use it and we can benefit from it.
Amen. Amen. It's amazing, because I said, my goodness, I'm wondering, you know, why the name Cebu? Why the name Cebu? And I said, let me Google some stuff. And it's Cebu. They just probably removed the M,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the same thing. It has the same benefits. Protect your skin. Like I mentioned earlier, my dad was a farmer, right? And he would always put the sebo underneath his foot bottom, and then he applied his socks and put his foot in his rubber boots
Before he would left to go
before
to the
he go
farm?
to the
Okay.
farm. It protects him from any bacteria. And then let's say it's early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps with what we might call that early cold or draft, right? So
Could
it's
get
a
sick from that,
protectant.
yes. Okay.
So all you need is to find you some sebo located somewhere, send me a little holler, and I'll produce whatever we have for you.
Okay.
Like I said, it's passed down from generation to generation, so it's proven to work for so many people. And I want to get even my non-Garfina people to use sebo, to use massage, different types of massage, to be a part of the yoga community, to come back to what is, to be grateful for what we have, and to just be, you know, networking, to be together. Because if we don't have this unity, people coming in is like, oh, well, you know, you have this, but I don't see your people doing it, right? So, like, what's going on, or what happens in your area? So, if we have that network, it makes us stronger. Makes
Indeed.
us stronger.
It will. And speaking about strength, tell me more about your community involvement, your wanting to see this this Garfna unity and your activism.
Wanting to see more and more. It's slowly getting there. There are more and more groups coming together. There are a lot of established businesses that we get to network with. But I am seeing more young people. More young people get into the business, they get into the way of life, and they're putting they're hungry for knowledge. It's not like first where, you know, it's like, oh, well, who am I going to get this from? People are going to elders to find out what they need to get, and these elders are sharing. At one point in time,
All you need to do is ask.
all you
All
need
you
to
need
do is ask, and they're willing to share. So there are a lot of networking going, so it's really good. It's really good to see young business owners, men and women. It's good to see us share each other's product. It's good to see us like just get in there. You know, I might tell them, oh, well, this is what is going on in my yoga business. Nobody came to class today. And they're like, don't be discouraged. You know, I had 2 customers. So we're all feeding off each other's energy, and we're surviving. We're thriving. We're getting there. I've been in the business for at least 3 years now.
Okay.
And every day gets better. It gets bigger. Life gets better. I can't say that there's a dull moment for me because, for instance, today, you know, I went out, I had a good morning, we're having this nice conversation. I get to meet with doctors today. I get to meet with people who need healing. I get to share that healing. And then I get to go home and then I rest. And then I replenish myself for tomorrow because rest is important. Listen, my 9 hours is important. I take the bus and I get my natural coconut water and I'm all good. Every day is a good day.
What is one thing you wanted to remind our community and Belizeans on a whole about living a very mindful life when it comes to connecting our mind and body? What is one message you would like to share with everyone? One kind, gentle reminder.
To connect your mind and your body, I would say pray. Prayer doesn't have to be a chore. It doesn't have to be something you wake up in the morning and say, oh, I have to pray this morning. Or you go to sleep and you say, oh, I have to pray. You pray at every moment that you get. If you don't have that one little thing where you could connect your physical body to the higher being, then life is just happening to you. But if you're praying, then the big man hears. If you never hear you the first time, you pray a second time in a day, then he would hear you even more. But prayer is very important to connect your mind and your body and to put things at ease. We have too much going on. But if we're not praying, what do we have? We're stressed. We're unease. We don't know that there's a connection. Um, Prayer for me is really important because when I'm praying, I get answers. And even if I don't get my answers during that prayer, somebody come and answer my question. And it's crazy because I literally just prayed about that 10 minutes ago and I walk up the street and I met somebody who is there, who is at my service, who literally is ready, who is expecting me because I prayed. And even in yoga, like I said, it has allowed for that shift to happen in my life because I'm more conscious, I'm more mindful, I'm more gentle. I wasn't all that, but I'm more gentle now and I get to share what people give back to me.
And thank you for sharing with me. You've opened up my mind so much about what yoga really is, and that all of us really connected as human beings share that common need to be mindful and connected to nature, taking care of our mind, body, and spirit.
Yep.
So thank you so much for taking the time
Thank you.
out of your wonderful schedule, your schedule of relieving everyone and de-stressing everyone and providing your therapeutic services to everyone with your amazing product. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing what you have with me as well as the Belizean publics. Isienie Garcia, an amazing woman, another amazing female here in Hopkins Village. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of One on One, and catch us next time where I will sit down and interview another amazing businesswoman here in Hopkins. Bye.
Oh my God.
Balancing to knowledge. One on one. Reaching high. One on one. Touch the sky. We're breaking through. No limits here. Empower the world. There's nothing to fear. One on one. Feel the light. One on one. We'll take flight. We rise as one with dreams so bright. On one, we're shining tonight. Feel the power deep inside. Step on up. No need to hide. You've got the strength. You've got the pride. On one, you lead the ride. Ooh, we're moving. We're changing the